Well, okay, this is the first ever live broadcasted interview from A Hitchhiker's Guide to Truth, and I couldn't think of a better guest than than Mr. Will Keller from Natural Freedom League. And there's a bunch of other people that I would have loved to include on this, but Will and I had a prior engagement for this evening. So, without any further ado, Mr. Will Keller, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good, brother. Thanks for having me, man. It's an honor.
Well, dude, honor's all mine, man. We talked, some months back. We had Sean with us, but tonight we're, you know, just uh, just the two of us. So that's great as well. Now, just to jump right in, man, you've put together a conference, right?
That's right. Yeah,
Uh,
it's the funnel conference. So we have a like an autonomous group that we've been meeting once a week for about a year and a half now, and we decided to come together and move forward and create an event. So we were inspired by Brandon Martin and the Cubbyhole guys at the Seed Four. So we decided to do a virtual event, and we came up with the Funnel Conference. So Funnel is an acronym for Freedom Under Natural Law, and we got some great presentations coming, and the speakers in variety of topics: holistic health, spirituality, self-defense, parenting, freedom, occultism. It's gonna be a nice event, and it's our first one, so we're excited for it. And this is gonna be February 12th and the 13th.
no kidding,
Yeah, coming up.
dude. February is such an exciting month for
Yeah,
me personally.
right
Uh,
on.
yeah.
Excellent.
So now it's even more to look forward to.
Just add it onto the list, man. Yeah, anybody, it's a free event, so they can go to freedomundernaturallaw.com and just register, and we send you the link when it's time to go, and anyone can view it. So it's gonna be
Awesome.
nice,
Who
exciting.
now? Who's speaking at this? Obviously, you. I imagine John.
John's
Uh,
also doing his own presentation. So
okay.
we're keeping the first one just our autonomous group. So there's four people in our group that are on the One Great Work Network. Dominic Tremblay, Chris Janston, my partner John, and then we have a variety of other people that are. This is going to be their first time, coming out into the public and doing presentations and stuff. So we're uplifting each other. It's a great support network, and yeah, just kind of trying to inspire people to kind of do the same, right? Get together with like-minded individuals, start a group, and have some meetings, and then put that into action and create something.
That's awesome.
There's a
Yeah.
total of 8 speakers.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Cool. What are you talking about specifically?
Ah, nice. Good question. My presentation is, and I've been sitting on this one for a while, so it's a good time to release it. Very straightforward title. It's The State of Freedom, What It Is and What It's Not. And I think a lot of people, when we look, even in the truth movement, in the freedom movement, a lot of people don't actually know what true freedom is. So this is my presentation that's going to be talking about the spiritual aspects and how do we create, achieve, maintain freedom, and importantly, what it is and what it is not. A lot of people think that rights and freedom comes from a collective of agreements or the Constitution and stuff like that. So I get into a very esoteric and um, spiritual aspect of freedom because it goes hand in hand, right? The physical and the spiritual realm. This is just one and the same. So we need both aspects. And I try to, my partner John and I, our motto is simplify the profound. So I'm trying to do a straightforward presentation that's going to be impactful. And in any time I do any type of work, I try to make that work for any type of person to understand it and comprehend. So hopefully this is a presentation that anyone can send to their, their mom, their dad, their grandmammy, their grandpappy, and anyone can watch it and get a grasp, a true grasp, an accurate grasp on what freedom is.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Like, I like what you said there about your presentation style. I recommend anyone that wants a little, glimpse of what my man Will here does for his presentations. Go check out his presentation from Seed 4 and you'll see what I'm talking about. Actually, that presentation is what made me go, I got to talk to this dude because he was just boom, 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 one thing after another in such a when you think about how long a conference or an event like that could really be, you guys don't understand, and I don't even really understand. But to be able to condense that much information into such a short amount of time, when you consider the grand scheme of things, 1 hour, 1.5 hours, hell, even 2 hours is not a lot of time. And this gentleman, he really he really knows his stuff with when it comes to doing that. I admire his work greatly with the parenting talks that he gives and everything like that. It's actually helped me out a lot. So
Thanks,
personal
man. I
thank you.
appreciate that.
You know.
Excellent.
So you mentioned Chris Jansen, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually met him and talked to him. He's a really great dude.
Oh yeah, Chris is phenomenal, man. He's kind of my rock, my go-to if I need some grounding or inspiration. Chris is the guy. He's very level-headed and just a great problem solver, all around stand-up dude. So
Got a baby
great, yeah,
crying.
great guy to be around. What's
Poor
that?
babe. I got my daughter's crying upstairs.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah,
That's that dad life, man. You got
that's
to
what you gonna do,
balance the two,
right?
for sure.
Right. But yeah, man. So what else is new with you? I know you're in a new the background there looks new. You got a new studio? What's up? Oh,
Yeah. So
careful.
shortly, this was about I guess August. Yeah, about August, I had to get out of the location that I was at, so I moved from my previous home. So and I was in this home for 17 years. I built a whole studio in the garage, and so a lot of good memories. But it was time for a change. So I welcomed it with open arms. So yeah, I'm in a new location, still trying to dial it in. So just hung up the tapestry for now, and until I get a better setup. But yeah, it's going good, and things have been going really well. Got a lot of projects in the work for this year coming up with Natural Freedom League. I'm doing some personal. I'm going to launch a website, which is willtelltruth.com. I already have it. It's almost finished, and I'll be launching a presentation series, which I'm really excited for. So yeah, got some. It's always you got to work on things just a little bit at a time. So, but I'm excited.
Yeah, man. That's insane. 17 years, huh? What made you want to move?
Um, Well, relationship issues. I was co-parenting with my daughter's mom, and we weren't together, but we were living together. So that was it was time to part ways in that aspect. And then my older brother actually owned the house at that point. And, and I'm in California. The housing market is crazy. So he pretty much, tripled his money on that house. It was time to sell. And it happened at a good time because everything going down, we were ready for a change. So, and it was time to kind of part ways. So, yeah. What's
Uh,
up, buddy? He's like, yeah, he's fist bumping you.
I got my co-host here.
Yeah.
You want to say hi? Well, if you're going to be on camera, you should say hello. Maybe if you want to, or if you want to say hello, you can. You just want to wave. He can't see you. See how you can't be, you're not on the camera there? You want to wave? He's waving. No, you got to come over here. You want to ask him a question?
What's up, buddy? That's like my daughter. She kind of wants to like be in the camera, but doesn't want to say anything. She's funny.
Yeah.
I'm warming her up though.
He's always running amok in the background these days. I moved from upstairs to downstairs at my house.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why it's different behind me. But
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
For
man.
sure.
Oh,
How are things going with you?
oh,
You've been knocking these episodes out like crazy, man. That's awesome.
yeah. I just I got a hold of I went to government-scam.com and got a hold of a lot of information there, and I was like perusing through it, and I was like, dude, like this. Uh, I know I can do more. Can you stop that, please? please.
Mhm.
It's very distracting. Yeah. And I saw all the information there, and I was just, thinking to myself, I can share this, I can read this and comment on it and help make a little bit more sense of it. And with the show being named what it is, it kind of makes sense to be maybe reading some books and arming people with some of this knowledge that I'm discovering and going and taking in and everything like that, with it being a Hitchhiker's Guide to Truth, and the book The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And in that book, the main character has a book that's kind of saving his ass throughout the book. He's reading
Nice.
it as he's going through and learning how to survive in the galaxy. And
Yeah.
I that's kind of what the show has turned into. And it kind of like synchronistically makes sense that every now and then I get a book, I read it on the air.
Yeah, that's a great style. I think that's awesome. I think the book you're doing now is um, "Government's the Biggest Scam," right?
Yeah,
That's by Etienne De La
yeah.
Boite squared. Yeah,
Etienne De La Bastide squared, and
yeah.
he's I haven't talked to him yet. One of these days, maybe, but I've heard a lot of his interviews and everything like that. He's a pretty cool dude. And, he put together this book where it's like a bunch of like, you could even break it down to like one pagers where you just find a topic of it and it just lays it all out right there. And as I'm going through, I'm getting my feet wet with the whole live streaming thing and kind of fine tuning it, as I go. Uh, a lot of self-criticism is helping because what better critic than yourself. I don't In the past, a couple of episodes I haven't included much, but I'm starting to build more and more through OBS, and it's working out. It's doing its job. The program's doing its job, and I'm just getting a feel for it as I go. um
Man,
yeah.
you're doing it right, and that's just starting. And then you got the mindset of wanting to improve and evolve, and that's what people need to understand is that at some point you got to just jump in, and you're going to get better as you go.
Yeah, it's like
So
exactly. It's conquering that little bit of fear. Like you just go and do it.
yeah,
So it's fun. It's fun all the same, and I get to like kind of you know stretch my pipes a little reading. It's
yeah,
not
there you go.
it's not easy. It's like the voice in your head is a lot better at making sense of everything than
Yeah,
You all right? Okay. It's
oh,
oh, you got your guy.
yeah, he's so funny. He's got like separation anxiety. We adopted him. He's a cutie, but he's always got to be on my lap.
Right.
So he's a little lap dog. This is my first small dog. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's funny you say that. Yeah, when I read to myself, I'm a pro. It's just so fluid and tackling big words. When I read out loud, I feel like I'm a 10-year-old.
Just a lot of background noise, and you're having a blast, which is great, but it's also very distracting. Thank you. Sorry, bud.
What a
Just gonna-
cutie.
Yeah, he's a blast to hang out with and everything, but he's at this very like rebellious stage where he's just pushing boundaries to learn, and that's what they do. And it's very tough to maintain patience, and you crack sometimes, but hey, like that's just part of it. It's part of the experience. It's part of the
Totally.
job, you
Yeah,
know.
man.
And that's how he learns when the boundary's been pushed too far, is when you kind of gotta throw down the hammer a little bit and just
Exactly.
lay down. As much as I hate to refer it like this, but like kind of just lay down the law. this
Yeah.
I don't know how else to really say it, but
Yeah, no, for sure, dude. I mean, it's at that age. How old is he? 4?
he's 5.
5, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about learning boundaries, right?
Hmm.
It's, at that age the ego is really predominant, so it's all about them pretty much, right? So they're kind of learning their boundaries and stuff, and that's what you're there for. You're the guide.
Right, the steward, if you will.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely, man. For
I think
sure.
of it as just like, oh, well, why don't the kids listen? It's like, well, you try being that young and learning all of these things at the same fucking time. You're not, and boom, 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 just bah, 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 coming at you at a million miles per hour every single day of your life. It's like, then try to listen to somebody else at the
Yeah.
same time. It's like, of course they're not going to listen. Of course they're going to have trouble settling down. Of course. But
Yeah.
there comes a time where it's like, hey, you might be doing something unsafe. You need to listen to me right now.
Yeah.
you
For
know,
sure.
thank you, bud.
100%.
You know, he both likes being on camera and not. Yeah, every time
Not
I
shy.
no, are you gonna say hello right into this? Say hello. No, okay, but yeah, it's a blast.
Yeah, man. It's a journey. You have two kids, don't you?
Yeah.
That's right.
Our daughter is upstairs.
Mhm.
My wife, God bless her, she's trying to get Lily down to sleep right now. You know, and it's not always that's not always easy. She's teething
Mm.
at the
Yeah.
moment, so it's not
Yeah.
an easy thing to do.
Yep.
But
For
yeah,
sure, man.
yeah. So what's it like co-parenting?
Oh man, it's very unique is
Yeah,
probably the word of choice that I'll start with.
I know
Um,
this isn't like planned or anything. So
oh, it's all right. No, it's
all
cool.
right,
I'm open to all topics, man.
all right, yeah.
Um, yeah, no, and this was actually a topic that I was going to do almost a whole presentation on because the majority of people are co-parenting. So
Well, once you start thinking about it, every set of parents is co-parenting. Just some are. I mean, if you want to kind of
no,
chalk it up to
you're
kind of
absolutely
a,
right.
you know,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
some are doing it a different way. So what's your experience with co-parenting?
Um, I'm lucky in a sense that um, Sarah, my daughter's mother, we're on the same page of on certain things. Certain the things that matter, meaning schooling, vaccination, all that kind of stuff. Morality, that's good. But still, you're dealing with a separate type of person. So the boundaries, again, here we go. Boundaries have to be in place. And so, any kind of issues that come up, it's mainly personal between her and I relationship. We do a really good job at facilitating when it comes to our daughter. So we both put her first. We try to the best of our abilities to keep our own stuff aside, so it doesn't affect her as much as possible. Now, we've had a lot of practice because we've been living together as well. So we've been living together for 2.5, almost 3 years, but separated, not in a romantic relationship. So that was really good practice, and yet very tough. So I don't actually regret any of it because I learned so much about myself. It was like constant shadow work. So, but yeah, I mean, it's going smooth, as smooth can be.
Well, that's
So
great. Yeah,
yeah, it's all right.
can you get up, please? Thank you.
And
Yeah,
and one, probably the best piece of advice is for someone is to you got to pick and choose your battles. And even though that's cliche, there's a lot of stuff that I just suck up, and not meaning I'm a pushover, but I don't engage. I'm not going to engage in certain situations that will feed and fire the problem, especially if it's coming, from her side. And yeah, sorry. Um
good.
if it's coming from her side, and I know I can use foresight and see where this is going to go, and it's going to be a big deal. So but then boundaries as well. You got to establish boundaries. I mean, talk, like, communicate them, and almost have a sit down meeting on almost a regular basis and talk about the boundaries, and what are principles, what are priorities that you guys are going to focus on. And so it's communication is right up there, so you got to establish that.
Dude, my hat's off to you, man. Like coming from a family where my parents were divorced. Like I don't even remember. I think there's like two, maybe three tops memories of them actually being cordial to one another while
Mm,
being in the same room. Uh, that's just amazing. That you'd be able to be grown-ups about it. That's
yeah.
what the world needs more of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's,
it's been a battle. I'll say that. I mean,
shit, it's
it's
not
not.
easy.
It's been up and down. I mean, unfortunately, been through the courts and all that kind of stuff. That's not by my wanting. I wanted to work things out beside that. But when resentment is there, and you're dealing with two people, if both people aren't doing their inner work, there's going to be resentment that's going to come out to the surface, and that's going to be expressed externally. So, but um, you just got to take it one day at a time and one problem at a time. But I
Oh
will
yeah.
say, to give us the benefit of a doubt, we put our daughter first 100% of the time, which, she is a good mom. So that's awesome.
Yeah, dude. That's what it's all about. The kids, the kids, the kids. They
Yeah.
always come first, man.
And it's really great to know when the shit hits the fan that her and I are on the same page.
Yeah.
So that's good.
That's like the most important thing, really, right?
Absolutely, yeah, and that's what when you break it all down, that's what matters. All the other little BS and stuff. That's just
It's just
just
that.
minutia.
Yeah. Just that. It's
Exactly.
just BS.
Yeah.
Man, that's that. I I I wanted to ask you that because last time we spoke, like you had mentioned that you co-parent, and I was just like, I've been thinking about it. I was just like, I wonder what that's like. Not, I'm not like downing on it. Like every family does what that family individual like family unit needs to do in order to be productive, like to be the most productive father, to be the most productive mother. Like you put your own needs to the side for the child, and sometimes the mom and the dad, they can't be one, so to speak, but like in a
Yeah.
sense, like you have no choice. You have to figure it out, like for the benefit of the kid. A lot of parents, I mean, I think that there's too many parents that do this, like even if they just don't put their differences aside for the kid. They kind of just all out war on each other. And
Mm, yeah.
1 second, you want the gate down? Tell me what's up. What? You want us to show you he lost a tooth?
Oh, let's
Come over
see.
here. Come over here. Look up. Get your mouth out. Get your hand out of the way. Just go. Just go.
Oh,
Do
it's one of the front ones. Nice.
you want to tell him how?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell him how you lost a tooth? I can tell him. So he was playing and he was jumping around. It was during the summertime, and he lost it early, and he fell and bam, hit his face off of a toy.
Oh, wow.
pop, pop goes the tooth right
Popped
out.
right out, huh?
Oh yeah,
Whew.
popped right out. He's a tough
Yeah.
little kid. He was upset that he saw the blood coming out of his mouth, but then kind of collected himself pretty quick for a 5-year-old. Well, he was 4 at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
Strong kid.
yeah, they're resilient. They are, these little ones. You know.
Yeah. No, I'm my daughter, she was young. She was like 3, and she tripped when we were on a walk. She like took off running. Bam, face first in the concrete. Her tooth was like her front tooth was like almost it was like projecting out of her mouth. And it was just, as a parent with a young kid, your heart's pounding, you're like, "Oh my gosh." And I just grabbed the tooth and I just pushed it back down, set it back in place, and then it was good, right? It's a baby teeth. There's like no roots and stuff. And oh man, but still, those kind of experiences, man, they can be rattling for sure.
Yeah. That's the beautiful thing about experiencing things for the first time, right? It's like
Yeah.
you see it as a dad. I see it, and I'm like, oh, I remember when it was me, but they don't have that memory yet. So it's like,
Mm,
oh wow, like it's an amazing experience.
yeah, for sure.
Good.
Going back to what you were saying a little
Yeah,
bit ago.
sorry.
No, no,
Go on.
no. It's totally cool, man.
Take it away, my
My,
man.
I'm all about the organic, natural conversations, right? This is life. This is what happens. I got my
Yeah.
dog on my lap. You got your baby boy right next to you. This
Fuck
is what it's
yeah.
about. It's awesome. Um, yeah, no, you're right. You know, parents, the resentment is there, and that's like predominant. And unfortunately, the kids are almost used as pawns. They're right in the middle of it, and that's when parents are separated and they're co-parenting, that's the foresight that they need to have, is to it's playing out the cause and effect in their head, right? It's like, okay, if we're going to go through all this, the court battle, how is this going to affect our kids?
I was listening.
Oh, and so yeah, and it pretty much, comes down to like stuff we talk about all the time, is doing the internal work, is, looking at our indifferences and trying to conquer those and resolve those.
Yeah.
Which, it's funny. It's New Year's Day, right? Everyone's listing the list of New Year's resolutions they have, right? And resolution is to like resolve to, to conquer and solve a problem and stuff. And people have their lists of, oh yeah, I'm gonna get in shape and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And most people, it's very about the physical and materialistic. It's like no one's going to say, well, not no one, but a lot of people aren't going to go, um, I'm going to be a better moral person, or I'm going to stop lying to myself, or stop lying to others, or stuff like that. The simple but yet profound inner characteristics that are deep in our subconscious, that that actually dictate our behavior.
But these resolutions always seem to be based in the self. I mean, and some of it is good, but I mean, it sounds like what you were saying is like the things that people don't really think about are not only the things that change yourself, but also change your environment, and then that spreads out and changes the world. Like, stop lying. Like,
Hmm. Yeah.
that's a good one. That's a very good one. You don't see many Facebook posts of people going, "My New Year's resolution is stop being a scumbag." Like, like no one
Right.
wants to admit when they're lying, cheating, and stealing. Like no one
Yeah.
wants to do that. That's too
Exactly.
hard. It's too hard for people to admit that. That's a problem. I think
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
definitely something.
it's definitely a problem. That's that's when you deduce it all the way down to its core. This is where all the problems of the world lie, in the individual not actually looking at themselves and taking that second glance of their actions, how their psychological, their philosophical understandings are, right? This is, I mean, philosophy is, it's so underrated for most people. Like most people think it's like, reading um, books at Starbucks at the coffee shop, and it's like someone's socially awkward if they're, oh, you're doing philosophy, it's like, nah, man. There's only two things to create change in the world. That's technology and philosophy. So yeah, it's that's a good point, man.
Yeah,
You
and
don't see
we
that often.
no, you can use technology to express the philosophy,
Sure.
and not enough people.
Absolutely.
I don't think enough people do that, or not enough people are even doing the inner work to be able to do that out to be able to express it. You know, and
Yeah.
people, I don't know, man. It seems it might be a little too late, but I hope it's not. I don't want a
Yeah.
black pill here, but it might be, for a lot of people. I think it's safe to say it is too late.
Well, just looking at it logically, with the amount of numbers of people we have in the world, right? I mean, there's going to be a um the alchemical process of breaking down, right? To get to the change, there's going to be hardship that's unimaginable. Like that's going to happen. Like it is, I'll tell you what it's not going to do. People aren't just going to wake up in huge numbers and automatically change themselves. We're kind of past that point. This does not mean, stop speaking out, speaking the truth and doing the great work. On the contrary, there's two parts to this too. We're also preservers of knowledge, right? We need to speak out to get this into people's minds so they can apply it to themselves, teach it to their kids, and teach it to other people. We're trying to create the ripple effect. But in reality, there is going to be a breaking down at, in some point. So, I mean, we can be honest with ourselves, shit's not getting better.
No.
So it's, yeah.
It might be getting better in like small pockets. And that's for now okay. Um because those pocket like you like tossing the stone into the pond, those ripples get bigger as more time goes on, and more ripples, they just spread out. That's how I
Yeah.
like to think about it. It's like that principle of, cause and effect and correspondence working together. Is the ripples get bigger as a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of time goes on. They do dissipate,
Exactly.
though. You want to go far into it, the ripples
Yeah.
do eventually go away, but and then the change happens, the ripples, and then it settles back down after that change. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping, I'm hoping that we don't get to a point where things go hot, but I don't
Yeah.
know, man.
It,
it
it's, it's not likely. Like I think things are going to get hot. So I stand by, my two categories is speaking publicly, propagating the knowledge of natural law and morality, and also preparedness. So, I consider myself a prepper. I tried to, learn knowledge of foraging and these skill sets, these life skills. Um, so we do see already that the split in society has already happened, right? This is just going to kind of grow and expand. So we're definitely going to see this. And people that think there's a great awakening, by no means is there at all. There's no great awakening. I would say though that there is a great awareness. I think in this time period, the age of Aquarius, just the natural energy that's coming in is stronger and intense, which is probably why they're doing, the socially perceived crisis of DVOC, which is COVID backwards, right? Which means in Hebrew it means um, to break down, to destroy. I think that's the term of it. So we see this split in society where at some point people that understand natural law, nature, the laws of nature, they kind of go down the path of closer to the natural world, right? Agorism, living off grid, this kind of thing. This is the path that most people kind of travel down. The opposite, the other spectrum is fully assimilation into the metaverse and Web3 coming out, which is another crazy topic. Which I can talk about some pros and cons on that as well, but um, not many pros. I'm just saying it's mostly cons.
no.
So yeah, we see the split. We see the split happening. I do think that the social engineers do want it to go hot at some point. I think part of their objective is to depopulate because they're trying, in my opinion, they're trying to make the perfect control system. So it will be easier with a little bit less numbers for sure. And obviously, people are going to just do that for them by genetic modification and all that kind of stuff. So
Right? Maybe it's not some mass culling, but I don't know, a socially engineered way to help, not help, but to make it harder to have harder to survive,
sure.
harder to reproduce.
Yeah,
I think I saw.
I mean, you can kill people just off stress alone, right? It's
Sure,
like, I
sure,
mean, yeah,
yeah. Uh, um, I think I saw something recently where, like, for the first time in a very, like, for the first time, the we are the reproduction rate is below the replacement, uh, at least for the United States. The amount of people that need to be born to replace the amount of people that are passing away.
Mm.
We're below that figure. So there are more people
Yeah.
dying than being born, like right now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so, I mean, is there some huge, like, I don't know, is it, jump in the realm of conspiracy for a moment, conspiracy theory for a moment. Is it some huge plan, some depopulation agenda? I don't know, but I'm kind of leaning toward saying yes. Um,
Yeah.
just for the sheer fact that like people get sent to war for what later on we find out is a bunch of BS. People, people get fed crap food that's made available by governments. People, get fed a bunch of lies that get them all stressed out and scared. And then they have, bad mental reactions and go and do crazy things that otherwise they may never have done that wind up getting a lot of people killed or hurt. So, I mean, is it a manufactured crisis? To a degree, yes. Is it 100%? I don't know because I'm not there, but I can speculate that it is and kind of connect the dots. Enough dots connect where it starts making a little bit more sense. The more you look into it, the less you want to see.
Yeah.
You start seeing things about the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderberg Group, the Rhodes Scholars, and then you're just like, whoa, like these groups, these people are, a lot of them are in power, a lot of them are in charge of a lot of things, and your mind just starts going, and it's just
Yeah.
like, whoa. And then you look at how those groups were formed and the foundations that were built to form those groups, and you think that those foundations don't exist anymore. I mean, for Christ's sake, like the Eugenics Society has changed its name to something else, but they're still doing the same exact thing. It's just a different name. It's like how people will say like, oh, Rome never fell, they just rebranded and now they're the Vatican. And it's like, okay, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
The rock that the Vatican is built on that used to be Rome, so
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Same with Nazi Germany when you find out, Operation Paperclip, where we
Right.
took all the scientists in, it's like where do
Right.
you think their kids are, functioning and stuff? They're functioning at high levels of
Mhm.
power in government and institutions.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. Werner
and their
von Braun.
grandkids. Yeah,
Werner von
exactly.
Braun being a Nazi rocketeer, like rocket engineer, and then he gets hired to, and oh, next thing you know, NASA exists. It's like these things don't just exist in movies. Like the movies tell you the truth, and then you go and think that it's just some fucking Hollywood, not you, but the people
Yeah.
oh, it's just something that Hollywood did. I literally had an interaction with a dude. Like there's a television show about Operation Paperclip. I forget what it's called, but it does exist. It does exist.
Yeah, I
I
think I've
think
heard about this.
I think Al Pacino might be in it or something. Uh, I'm I'm not sure who stars in it, but it's a show that exists, and it's literally the story about Operation Paperclip. And a dude I work with was talking about it, and I was like, oh, that's Operation Paperclip. And he goes, what's that? And I'm like, that's the show
Mm,
you're watching, bro. That actually happened. And he goes, no, it didn't. I'm like, yes, it did. Go look it up. And the next day he goes, I can't believe it. He actually went and looked it up, and he was
yeah.
like, oh, I can't believe it. I'm like, yeah, man, that happens all the time. They tell you what they're doing through movies and stuff. It's just like predictive programming, operant conditioning, all of that stuff, just boom, right in your face.
Yeah. It's mind blowing. It's mind
It
blowing,
is.
even the level of ignorance that people don't have of any of this stuff, right? It's like,
Right. Well,
um,
people, I don't even know if it's ignorance, but people don't know how much they know. Like
yeah,
they're fed this stuff through Hollywood movies and television shows, and they internalize it. They have the knowledge of it, but they don't know that it's not fiction.
exactly.
Like they don't
Exactly.
know, like these
Yeah.
stories that you're watching on television actually mean something. And I'm like it's just so ridiculous to me that people don't
Yeah.
want to just go, I wonder where they got the idea for that. I mean, it's a place called Hollywood, for Christ's sake. Like it's
Yeah.
where the magic happens. Well, no shit, because they make magic wands out of Hollywood.
Yep.
And you got to do it at a certain time of day on a Wednesday. It's like,
Exactly.
What do I
Once you
know?
go down that road, man, and you get an accurate perception of just what has happened and what is happening. I mean, it's like the occult mockery is just mind blowing how much they do that, and they do that for a good reason, right? I mean, the majority of people are tacitly agreeing. They take in that information and they don't say no. It's just so it goes right into their subconscious mind, and they comply. And it's just like saying yes, really. I mean, if you don't say no and you actually performing the action, well, then you're going along with it.
And you're kind of alluding to the whole like, well, how does the karma not go on to them, and why are we the ones kind of getting that bad karma? Because we're not stopping it, right? Like
Yeah,
these
exactly.
plans and everything, it's revelation of the method is what I was trying to think of earlier. Not necessarily, it is operant conditioning, it is predictive programming, but it also is revelation of the method, where they're telling you exactly what they're planning, exactly what they're doing right to your face. They're
Yeah, it's an offer.
speaking, yeah, they're speaking English, but it's not the same English that the layman speaks. And people,
Exactly.
it's mind-blowing. It's
Yeah.
mind-blowing how often you see these moments in television and in movies right there, and people don't know what they're seeing. And because we don't say no, because we don't do anything to stop it, that's why we're suffering. It's almost like natural law is working against us from time to time. It feels
Yeah.
that way. Yeah.
That's how it feels. I mean, in reality, it's working to perfection, right? I mean,
Mm.
natural law is perfect, is the perfect system. And that's the thing. Everything that we see that's going on, it's the social engineers making their offer. They're telling you this is what we're going to do. This is our offer. They do it in symbolism and allegory, which goes straight to the subconscious mind. So therefore, if you don't know yourself and know how your psyche operates, it just goes over your head. But it's there, right in plain sight, right? So it is an offer. It's a contract. It's an energetic contract, pretty much. And you're right. People are taking it hook, line, and sinker. So, and unfortunately, moral people and people that understand this, yeah, we do feel the brunt, and we see it, right, because of just the collective, the aggregated um, of conditions. So, and and this energy building up, I mean, it's like a rubber band. It's going to snap back. That's why I do think there's going to be a it's going to get bad, physically bad. I mean, at some point, there's going to be a breaking down of society, and I think we are going to see that for sure. It's just at some point with the cause and effect, it just boils over. The rubber band snaps back, and we're going to see it. So you can only be an immoral society for so long before you engage into that next transition of slavery and bondage.
So um, let's turn gears here
Cool.
toward the end. Um, let's talk about solutions for the last few minutes here before we got to part ways. We
Excellent.
got maybe about like 10 minutes left, 10-15 minutes. So let's talk solutions. When that rubber band snaps, Mr. Will Keller, what do we do?
Mm,
What do you think?
yeah. I mean, there's so many different ways, and I try not to go down the road of how it's going to happen, more of why, and stay grounded in the present moment. So like, what can we do right now? We're having a conversation, we're going public, we're talking about this kind of stuff. That's good. I prepared for anything, but I'm not going down the list of um, uh, EMP could be an option. All these options, I'm not going down the list. I'm just prepared to do what? To be self-sufficient. Period. That's what it is. If I mean, I need food, water, shelter, all that kind of stuff. So learn foraging, water filtration, know your area. Get an actual map and understand how to read it. Understand longitude and latitude, how to read the sun, astrology, the ultimate science. It's also a map as well. Not only a map of consciousness in our mind, but a map of the the physical world where we can get to destinations and direction and stuff. But in the present moment right now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to influence the unconscious hordes of people, right? These people that are completely unaware of what's going on, and they're resistant to it. You can't do that work for them, right? So the only way to affect and influence the unconscious mind is by inspiring. So ultimately, we're artists. We create art because art inspires. Art has that effect in the mind, subconscious and the conscious mind, to completely change your way of thinking and your perception. Right? You take another look. It could be music, painting, or whatever. We do public speaking, presentations. We talk to people. My partner John does music, so there's many forms of that. But ultimately, we're artists creating art to try to influence people to um, to change their energy and their perception and their mind, their psychology. So, and that's that's what we do. We just need to get more people talking about this kind of stuff. Suffering's the ultimate teacher. So, I mean, eventually, if people aren't going to get it, then there will be suffering with no limitations, I think. So, and even then, we have the moral obligation and the duty to preserve this knowledge and to teach it to others.
Yeah. No, there's something that a lot of people don't understand about this stuff is that in centuries past, long, long time ago, people would fucking get murdered for knowing these things, for knowing
Yeah.
how to speak about freedom, to know how to speak about anarchy, and how to speak about natural law, how to speak about the trivium method, the quadrivium method of truth discovery, how to know this knowledge would get people killed. And that's something I think a lot of people take for granted these days, is the ability that we have to discover truth is far beyond anything that any ability to discover truth in the past. We have more ability these days than ever before in human history. People put their heads in the sand and they live in their little their lives and their little bubbles,
Hmm.
which is fine. You want to live that way, fine. But when that ignorance comes around, when when it comes home to roost, don't expect me to go down in flames with you.
Yeah. Yeah,
I,
100%.
I'm
And,
not
and
planning
and they
on
don't
it.
even have the right to do that. Like, if you think about it, they don't have the right to be ignorant on freedom and slavery. They have a right to be ignorant on um, how to bake a blueberry pie. Sure, if you
Sure.
don't know how to do it, that's fine. But when it comes down to slavery and freedom, you are actually affecting those around you and, you know, other human beings. So people don't actually have the right. This is getting into the ethical and the deeper side of it, but still it should be talked about, It's like,
Right. Right.
but you're right, I mean, it's when the shit hits the fan, like-minded individuals are going to band together. And then what? Let's just say society collapses and, there's no more grid or anything. Well, guess what? Anyone that's trying to do the one great work, we're traveling to village, still talking about morality and natural law, because that control system is it doesn't matter who it is, right? People always want to know, oh, who's the top people, that their names behind all the social engineers. It doesn't matter because they will be replaced. It's a
Yeah.
state of mind, right? There's just
Yeah.
the new Satanists, egotists will just step up and take those roles.
Yeah.
So it's
The
a
power
state of mind
vacuum.
that we're fighting. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. The vacuum. It will be, there will be an attempt to fill that vacuum, that void, if you will.
Yeah.
And I mean, hell, I, I like what you brought up. You quickly brought up agorism earlier. And
Yeah.
I think that is a very, very practical, real world type of solution that could really motivate people into understanding what a large amount of what we talk about and the messages that we're trying to get across to people. Start looking into agorism. And that's a really, so agorism is an idea brought forward by a gentleman named Samuel Compton III. And it was quite a long time ago that he brought forward this idea. So the best thing for you to do is get his pamphlet. It's I think it's just under 100 pages long. It's called the Agarist Primer,
Mm.
and it's available. It's very cheap. It comes in paperback. It's about like this thick. I mean, it's like this thick. It's not a very big read at all. And so anyone that's not heard of Agarism, I'll crash course it right now. Agarism is counter economics. It's shade tree economics, where basically you are going around the state and continuing your business in a more freedom mindset, where you do very small trades, like so in a very private way. Agarism comes from the Greek word agora, which meant marketplace.
Mm.
And so you just fair trade. It's basically comes down to fair trade. And you trade your skills for another person's skills, or your material for another material, but that material that you got is a product of your skill anyway. So it all comes down to skill and trade. So why do you call being an electrician, a plumber, HVAC, mechanic, a driver of a vehicle? Those are all called trades. Why? Because back in the day, you would trade them. You trade your skills. I know how to fix the pipes in your house. You know how to fix the electricity in mine. You fix my electricity, I'm your guy for your pipes. Boom.
Fair exchange.
Fair exchange.
The
An exchange
total
of
100% natural way. You know, we're all one human soul family, but we're all individually unique in our own way, right? And this is what it's about. This is the natural way of voluntary interaction. And so yeah, well said.
yeah, I mean, all action should be voluntary. At the end of the day, all action should be
Absolutely.
voluntary. And to be not to like open up another can of worms here, but we already live in a world where all these actions are voluntary. If you think about it,
Mm.
because you voluntarily bend the knee to the state. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if a large enough portion of people stood up and said, no more of this shit, it would go away. It wouldn't be pleasant. It wouldn't be easy. I know I just painted a very nice picture, but oh, wow. If that's that, it's that easy, huh, James? No, it's not. But
In theory, yes. But yeah, no,
yeah,
you're right. You're right.
yeah,
Something for people to do right now, and I think this is crucial, right? We need courage, obviously. But if someone is not, they're considering these topics and they're feeling in alignment with them, reach out, start doing your research and find, freedom cells and get together with groups of like-minded individuals so you can learn from and inspire each other. Right now is the time to actually do something. It doesn't have to be on a video doing a podcast, but get involved somehow. I mean, I do think that people need to be public, but first you're going to have to, you know, use the technology that we have now, do some research, connect with groups in your area, start having these discussions. And that's how, me and my group, that's how we got together in the beginning of all the COVID shit that happened. It was just a support. I threw a line out there on a Zoom link with just anyone that wants to chat during lockdown, and bam, we formed our group. And then we get together, we go out and we educate the public, and now we're doing a conference. So it's just the evolution, but action is required.
damn right. That's all it is. Positive action. That's what's required.
You got it, brother.
Living in, there are a couple of laws that do need to be followed, but they're not man-made. So, living with morality in mind, which is objective. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And if they do, you can send that person to Will or myself.
Absolutely.
It will school them. And then, natural law. So, I mean, they run hand in hand. So, all right. So we've done almost an hour. Will, just like that. Boom.
Yeah.
Flew right by.
Flew right by, man. It's good convo, dude.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time, and and even we were gonna do this even later, but I mean, I really appreciate you coming in, getting it done a little earlier. It helps me out a lot.
Oh man, it's my pleasure, dude. Thanks for having me.
So I'm going to definitely include this information in the show notes. But where can people find your work and more information about Funnel?
Absolutely. So my website is naturalfreedomleague.com. I'm also a content creator on the onegreatworknetwork.com. That was hosted and created by Mark Passio. So I got all my work on there as well. And the Funnel Conference, that's Freedom Under Natural Law. That's February 12th to the 13th of this year, 2022. And go to freedomundernaturallaw.com. You can register. It's a free event online, and it's going to be kick ass, man.
I'm excited. I'm excited. You know, I always love hearing your presentations. And
Thanks, brother.
Chris has done an amazing job. Shout out Chris Jansen. You know, um, so yeah. Um, I'm James Cordiner. You've been listening to A Hitchhiker's Guide to Truth. Um, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the other side. All right. All right. So we're gonna stop the